That's all she needs to say.
I don't know if she's still on there or not.
Once we get going, so we'll go ahead and call a Nome Common Council regular meeting for Monday, January 12th, 2026 to order. Clerk, may call the roll.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Martinson.
Here.
Councilmember Henderson. Here. Councilmember Miller. Councilmember Green, let me know that he was not going to.
All right.
Excused.
Councilmember Lust.
Here.
Thank you. Student representatives of Stanco.
Here.
We have a quorum.
St. Martin's.
Awesome.
DC. Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda by Councilmember Johnson, seconded by someone.
Councilmember
Councilmember
Martinson.
Martinson. Call the roll.
Councilmember Martinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Lust.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Agenda is approved. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the January 5th, 2026 special meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Henderson, seconded by Councilmember Martinson. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I emailed Dan. There were just a couple things missing from my council person comment section.
All right. We'll presume those.
I don't know that I'm losing sleep over it enough that we need to fix it or anything.
Is that simply administrative correction?
We can certainly do that.
You want to enumerate what you want corrected?
Sure, I had just talked briefly about Senate Bill 113 that the governor had vetoed, and the city's interest was that a significant portion of that was going to career and technical education and the Alaska Reads Act, and that the legislature may be looking at overriding that in the first 5 days. I congratulated the Nome Public Schools music program and Richard Sargent, and then I talked about January being National Human Trafficking Prevention Month.
All right.
I'll approve those changes.
You mean you make a motion
Make
to
a
approve the changes?
Yeah.
Second.
That's what I meant. Mr. Clerk, Maggie joined the meeting too.
All right. We can show her yours of 7:04.
Okay.
Any further discussion on the minutes? We have a motion to amend them as Adam noted. Any further discussion on the motion to amend minutes?
Roll call on the amendment.
Please.
Councilmember Lust.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carries. And now on the motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Any further discussion?
No.
Go ahead and call the question. Or
Roll call.
roll.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Lust.
Yes.
That passes.
Okay, motion carries. Minutes are approved. Next on the agenda is communications. Got a letter there from Jeremy Jacobson, Ray taxi cab requirements. And I imagine that will come up soon, so we'll go ahead and move on then to citizens' comments.
Steve Longley, Nome. As you guys all know, I'm in favor of getting rid of the taxi cab ordinances. Pretty obvious. Checker cab has been in violation for 4 or 5 years. Still are in violation. Are in violation this week, as they're out. They came out this last weekend and tried my trick. Tried to do the ride for donation. They advertise it, and one of the people there asked, "Well, who are you donating to?" That ad just disappeared real fast because they weren't donating to anybody but their own pockets. And as you know, I'm donating to the cheerleading club. You can check with the coach and she will tell you I've given her a lot of cash this past year, and I'm planning on giving her more cash, along with headbands I had custom made for all the girls. There's several people that have been doing rides the last month or so, including they were out during Iditarod. So there's people there to take over, get rid of it. There'll be cabs out there. Checker cab will be right back out there. They're out there right now. You can call their number and you'll get checker cab. Some of the checker cab drivers have dropped their prices to my rates, which is $5 in town, $10 to the airport. There's I think probably close to half of the drivers have dropped their rates. So I did something good, dropped the prices of getting from point A to point B. Another concern I have, I just had my physical done Friday so I can get my chauffeur's license. And during that process, I found out that, and I know for a fact that the hospital does not do drug tests. Your ordinance for chauffeur's license require you submit to a drug test. I've had a chauffeur's license in the past for 10 years, as well as a CDL with a medical certificate, which also requires a drug test. And the hospital has never done one. The doctor I saw this week is one of the few doctors that says you do a drug test, and so I did one. But you guys should consider, as part of your chauffeur's license application, have a documented where, a letter from the hospital or provider that you passed your drug test, because the hospital doesn't do it. I'm hearing from the doctor I saw that it's because of the expense. It's like $200 to do a drug test, and the hospital felt that they just weren't going to do them for chauffeur's license or CDL license medical certificates, which, they're signing that they did, but they're not doing it. I also found out from the same doctor that there's only a few doctors up there that are even qualified to do that physical. Apparently you need a special certification to do a CDL physical, the CFR 40 physical. In the past, I've had a PA sign off on it, which apparently is against the rules, doctor rules. But anyway, I like to say this taxi cab ordinance is gone. As soon as it's gone, I already have a business license. My sales tax license kind of got messed up a little, so I'm going to get that fixed, and chauffeur's license, I'll be ready to go. And back to being easy cab again. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jeremy Jacobson. I'm a citizen of Nome, a resident of Nome. And I'd sent that communication earlier, but I just wanted to of echo the safety as the focal point for my concern while I was here today. I kind of think it's, you've got the business owner, of course, who has costs, but there's also, of course, the passengers and then property damage. Hopefully that never occurs, but just the kind of 360 picture. And then lastly, it was my understanding without the language in the ordinance of a license or, sorry, insurance requirement, it's like any agreement or legal document. It's not in there. It's not covered because the federal and the state level don't actually cover carrier services for taxi cab insurance. That's kind of left up to the municipalities. But that was just my concern that if it's left out in the language, our application doesn't actually have it as well. It wouldn't really be enforceable if it wasn't in the ordinance. But that was my piece. Thank you.
Get yourself object.
Thank you. Any further public comments? Citizens' comments? All right. Hearing none, then we'll move on to unfinished business.
You want me to read that by title?
Sure.
All right. Ordinance 26-01-01, an ordinance repealing certain sections of chapter 3-10 of the Nome Code of Ordinances to remove the requirements of taxi cab and motor bus licensing and amending the other sections of chapter 3.1.0 to be consistent with cessation of taxi cab and motor bus licensing requirements.
All right. I guess the first step would be to convene to a public hearing to accept testimony from the public regarding this. Is there anything in addition, say we broke into 7:13 for public hearing? Is there anyone that wishes to comment on this? In addition, all right.
Yeah, sorry. Jeremy Jacobson, Nome resident. I just remembered in the ordinance specifically 260101, I think it's section 3, it says repeals. And in that very specific section, is it 3.10.080, which is that requirement that has the insurance. So at that point, if you repeal that section, it's no longer in the ordinance. So that was my concern, just that portion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Keep on with still from Nome. Like I said earlier, I think I need to do away with it. As far as he mentioned the insurance, there are state laws requiring taxis. Those aren't going to go away. So they're still going to have to follow state laws. If there's unsafe cabs out there, you can call the troopers, and the troopers have a commercial division that inspects unsafe commercial vehicles, and that includes cabs, trucks, any commercial vehicle for any use. So if this ordinance goes away, there's still an avenue to go to the state troopers. I've driven truck for 30 years, and every few years, a trooper with the commercial division will come up here and we'll go around and look at trucks, and they'll actually pull them over, they'll weigh them, they'll go underneath them, look for issues. It's pretty common for them to come up. Of course, when they come up, all the bad trucks park real fast. And those ones are not on the road until the trooper leaves. But they still have to follow state law. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to comment on this proposed ordinance? Anyone on Zoom or on the phone? All right, hearing no further comments, we will come back out of Public hearing at 7:15 PM. Chair would entertain a motion to adopt.
I do have some comments on it. Just let me know when there's a good chance or when it's appropriate to kind of jump in there.
Okay, as soon as we have a motion on the floor to adopt, which Councilmember Henderson has just made, we had a second. Seconded by Councilmember Martinson. All right, go ahead, Adam.
Okay, thanks. So right, there's two components to all of this effectively. And the first is, of course, the chauffeur license, and that's not part of this ordinance. And that really just ensures that our drivers are of good moral character as far as their criminal and driving history goes, and that they're medically fit. The second part of it is the vehicle permits. And I do think there's three kind of core consumer protections that are included in the vehicle permitting requirement. It ensures that vehicles are mechanically sound, so that way wheels aren't falling off around town or taxis are crashing into things because there's no brakes. It requires signage on the exterior, so that way when people get into a cab after leaving the bar early in the morning, they can feel confident in their own safety. And it does ensure that taxi cabs are adequately insured. The ordinance right now requires that insurance policies notify the city within 30 days prior of their cancellation. I think those are all really solid, very basic consumer protections. I've spent a lot of time this last week reading everything from Bristol Bay to Bethel to Kotzebue to Utiavik. Generally, our ordinance as it is right now is very basic. I am in support of getting rid of the limit on cabs. That seems kind of like an arbitrary thing, and that would open up and be pro-business. But I do think we need to think about some basic consumer protections, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Adam. Is there any further discussion?
I had done that same research in times past that Mr. Lust just referred to, looking at other regional type hubs similar to Nome, and found that a lot of our, either the same attorney wrote everything up the same, or they went through the same process to get to where we're at now on a lot of the current taxi cab registration that seems to be wanting to be taken away, basically. But a couple of questions I have is some of the concerns regarding insurance. If we do pass this, what insurance requirements are required of somebody with a chauffeur's license? I guess I'll ask Mr. City Clerk that question.
Chauffeur's licenses don't require
I
insurance.
mean, is this like the way you're crossing stuff out? Is that's taking away us requiring insurance?
It repeals the taxi cab license code entirely.
Totally. Okay.
So basically what you've done is maintain the chauffeur licensing requirements, and
That's it.
under the proposed ordinance, gotten rid of everything else. Insurance, inspections, everything else, right? Under the way it's written.
Well,
Without
every
any change.
insurance that drives on the streets of the city requires insurance.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, we're just asking.
So basically, everything except the chauffeur license requirements has been removed under this proposed change.
Well, the chauffeur's license is a completely different.
I understand
part of
that.
the code,
Just how about a
so
yes or no? That's what I'm asking. Do you understand my question?
Not quite.
Okay. We're keeping under the proposed repeals, proposed ordinance we're talking about. You've maintained or kept the chauffeur licensing requirements, the application, the appeal, the denial, all the requirements, right? And gotten rid of the rest of the taxi cab ordinance for the most part.
Those are two separate ordinances. Chauffeur's license is a completely separate ordinance from the taxi cab
Okay,
license.
the
ordinance.
entire, okay, multiple ordinances for taxi cabs. You've gotten rid of the rest of them, or that's under the proposal.
The taxi cab licensing requirements, yeah, it all would
Okay.
be erased.
The taxi cab is a vehicle,
I understand.
right? Whereas the chauffeur license is a personal thing, and so all the stuff that went with the vehicle side of it is what's being repealed. The person side of it is still
Thank you.
Yeah, we understand that, but
Yeah.
the citizens are worried about this vehicle side
Exactly.
because the other side's already taken care of.
I mean, you're driving a commercial vehicle, whether it is a bus or whether it is a cab, you still have to have insurance.
Okay, but
You know,
but
when
there's
you
but
drive,
there's
you drive your
no
personal vehicle, you still have to have insurance.
but the city
But
the city will have nothing like Bethel or anybody else has. There'll be no fines for anything that happens to any of these vehicles.
if they're driving without insurance, they can certainly get
Not-
pulled over and cited.
Now, yeah, go
Are you
ahead.
finished?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Jeremy raises a very valid point, and it's the one concern that I've heard from other folks as well is if we, I think there's a higher level of protection that we should be looking at rather than just, if I see you driving your car on the street, I just assume you have insurance, and if you don't, well, probably nobody's going to check. One question I have, and maybe this is a legal question, is if the city is involved in deciding who can and can't be a chauffeur, does that already put us into the liability loop?
I don't believe so.
Okay. And have you got that read from the city attorney?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was the one that insisted that we leave the chauffeur's licensing in place.
Okay. Let me just pose a question. What happens if we just issue, I think right now we're authorized, or the city council at the last time they made the decision, there's 13 permits that are authorized. What happens if we just maintain the existing regulatory ordinances for taxi cabs as they are right now and just reissue 13 permits through the lottery process?
If that's what the council decides, then that we can certainly do that.
I guess I'm asking, is there any negative, is there any disadvantages to doing that? We still keep the existing protections in place, like inspections, like insurance, and there's probably a few more other ones in there as well. And then we can modify at a later date or the same time the requirement for limiting it to 13. But we just it's my understanding is there's literally no legal cabs on the road right now.
There aren't.
What happened with Checker Cab?
They abandoned their license.
Did they just choose not to reapply? Because under the
That's
current, you
correct.
have to reapply every year.
That's
And
correct.
they just, you didn't revoke their permits. They just simply chose not to reapply for it for another year. Is that
To
correct?
date, they still have not applied for any.
Okay. And right now, what do we have in their place?
Illegal cabs.
A number, I don't know how many we have of these, I'll just use rides for donations type situations, right? And I think some of the courtesy shuttles are kind of trying to help fill the gap by expanding their service a little bit. So basically, we have no legal cabs on the road right now.
Further question, Mr.
So I
Mayor?
guess, can I-
Or when Scott's.
yeah, well, so my suggestion is that we just issue 13, do a lottery, and do 13 permits. Start with a kind of a clean slate. We'll maintain, without any ordinance changes, we'll maintain the insurance requirements, we'll maintain the annual renewals, we'll maintain the financial penalties if people don't comply, the annual renewal process, everything. And then we can tweak it, including getting rid of the cap on number of permits. That'd be my suggestion.
So you threw out the number 13. That is the cap.
Mhm.
And so are you
Right
keeping
now,
the cap, or are you getting rid of the cap entirely?
we currently have a cap of 13 permits.
11.
Okay, it's 11.
Yeah.
We issue through the lottery process 11 new permits. Okay. Then that starts the process to getting legal cabs back on the road. Right?
That starts the process.
And then if the council chooses later, we can modify the ordinance to remove that cap through an ordinance amendment process. We don't need to throw out the entire ordinance.
if you changed it right now, then you wouldn't have to go through the lottery process at all. You just remove the cap.
Okay. Since nobody seems to like the cap, I mean, we could do that now, right? And maintain, and just basically whatever that one section is that has the verbiage in there about the city council has to approve the number of permits. Just get rid of that and keep everything else in place. Great.
Go ahead, Mark.
Is that cap part of the ordinance? Or where does the cap come up? Because that would determine what we need to do, if we want to remove it, what we need to do for the project.
The ordinance states something to the fact that the city council will determine from time to time how many permits are available and in circulation. If you amended the language to that there isn't a determination of the number, then essentially you could leave all the protections or safety, what's the word?
Requirements.
Yeah, the safety requirements in place, but, and there are some other municipalities, like some of the stuff that you sent me, they don't have a cap on their taxis at all. They still make them go through a permitting process, but anybody can apply for the permit as long as they meet those safety concerns and regulations. You know, the signage, the insurance, the vehicle inspection.
Another question I had, just since we're talking about insurance, so what's the insurance requirement for our current taxi cab license?
I think it's like 300,000.
It's a commercial insurance as opposed to just an individual insurance?
It's a commercial insurance.
Right, and it's also tied to a particular vehicle. So if somebody applies, they have to provide the insurance for a particular vehicle.
I mean, if you had more than one vehicle, you could have more than one vehicle on a policy.
But it's recognized that you guys can scrutinize that they have the vehicle on their insurance policy.
Under 3.10.090 taxi cab license regulations, in section B, there's actually a discussion about the city council has determined in 2005 that 13 licenses shall be issued by the city.
There was an amendment to that
Since then?
Yep,
Okay.
since then.
So
I don't remember exactly what year it
That's fine.
was,
So it's 11.
but I've
that's fine.
hashed this out more than a couple times.
But if we just got rid of that section B completely, wouldn't that essentially accomplish what we're trying to do, is get new permits out there and still maintain our safety and requirements?
Could be done.
What are the disadvantages of doing that? Is there any disadvantage? Because you don't seem like you kind of,
This is the
like-
farthest I've got in
Okay.
the 2 years that I've been having this conversation. And so, I mean, I don't make the decision. You guys make the
so you don't have
decision.
any objections?
I do not have objections to removing the cap on the licenses. I think that it would be a lot faster than going back through lots. That has noticing requirements attached to it. And so that's not going to be a tomorrow thing. You get rid of the caps
So if we
on
just
the
get rid of the
licenses,
cap tonight,
we should probably
I'm not
still
sure we can
look
do
at.
that.
There's more language
Yeah.
that would need to be modified
Okay.
that refers to it in a couple other sections.
Yeah, I think that would be another ordinance change. Like you said, first said down the road, that we could bring that back up if we choose to keep everything else.
But we could use this opportunity to consider it being from time to time a consideration of stating the maximum number of taxi cab licenses. The council could find to put it at 100. And then
Still have to go through
Still have
lots
to
the
go
way
through the
that
lottery.
the way that it reads.
as long as you have any number in there.
Whether you remove them or you release the 13, it's kind of a crapshoot as to which is faster to actually put legal cabs out on the streets.
all right.
And so if you're gonna weight the the noticing requirement timeline for doing lots, you might have well have gone through the ordinance change process.
So in your estimation, can we modify this current ordinance adequately? Or should we introduce?
I think it could be done, but I would still probably insist on another public hearing and one more reading. I mean, we could table it for a special meeting, which could be next week,
For what purpose?
to pass the ordinance as amended.
So,
That's what we're doing tonight.
yeah, so
It hasn't been amended yet.
what are you suggesting the amendment?
Well, so the way it reads now is pretty cut and clear. And so I'm trying to interpret the vision that Scott is trying to point out here, is that we bear with me, get rid of the language that essentially describes the determining how many licenses go out to circulation, whether it is increasing it to 100 like Kenny says, or getting rid of the requirement to have to hold that, what used to be called medallions. And so as long as you have a chauffeur's license and you put in a taxi permit that shows that you have a vehicle that can actually functionally be used with the requirements that we have set in our ordinance, it can be approved.
So under
You don't have to have a medallion in place.
So our current ordinance, we have 11 available licenses.
Yes.
And remind me why we only chose to issue 6 of those 11, I think, or 5 of those.
Well, 5 were revoked when by the past clerk.
Luce.
When Luce was not able to operate his business.
Yeah.
And then the other 6 expired at the end of this last year.
So, but currently in the ordinance, we still have 11 there.
Yep.
So there's nothing we have to really change with that existing ordinance. And you can issue 11 permits to applicants that
We have to go out
process.
to lottery, but yeah.
Did we decide how much notice was needed if we did decide to conduct a lottery? How many days or in advance for public notice?
I don't
Because it's
remember
not- I
what
don't
the
think it's
number is,
in the
but it's at
ordinance.
least 2 weeks.
I didn't see anything in the ordinance.
Yeah, I don't think the ordinance says. I would have to consult with the attorney.
So. And what you're saying is we cannot amend, so my understanding is we can amend the ordinance or just pass or not pass.
Right, not pass.
So we can't make changes to it through this process.
Well,
Like we talked about just removing the cap. You're saying we cannot do that as the second reading tonight. We have to have another hearing.
my belief anyway is that this thing that we have here to vote on,
Mhm.
it repeals so many items inside the existing thing that we should probably vote on this as it is. But if we vote it down, then it basically goes to the state, then the current ordinance stays in place until which time we change that and
And what do we do in the meantime with the cab?
issue cab licenses.
You'd have to release those licenses to go to lottery and make a motion to do that.
So you're saying it'd be too messy to just make that one.
To try to change this has it'll be a lot of wordsmithing to try to change this to basically get to what I think you're mentioning that we're trying to get to.
I'm just saying there's just one section that potentially can be removed, and that's the
And
one.
that has to go,
that I
that has to go to
mentioned.
public. I think that has to go out to, I mean, either if you
It's
read.
already gone through the first public process.
Not-
The first
Yeah.
and second reading.
So we get rid of everything in here except for one section that says. that-
Dan, you got a red pen, right? Let's go.
He's just talking about repealing the language in the ordinance.
Does anybody
itself.
have the ordinance pulled up or
I can pull it
available?
up.
I think
So if I could bring, it's, I think it's, what did I say, 090?
Yeah.
So 3.10.090,
095, issuance and renewal of taxi cab licenses.
just 090,
090.
section B. What happens if we just get rid of that, section B? Does somebody want to read that? I mean, I can read it.
Sure, I can read it. Section B, 090, Section B. The city council shall determine from time to time the maximum number of taxi cabs to be licensed for commercial purposes within the city. The number of licenses issued during any year shall be based upon and reasonably related to: 1, the economics of generating sufficient revenues to licensees to enable preventative maintenance and repair necessary to ensure safe vehicles. 2, the economics of generating sufficient revenues to licensees to enable employment of competent drivers. And 3, other considerations related to providing for the safety and welfare of the passenger public in the city. Applying these criteria, the city council has determined in 2005 that 13 licenses shall be issued in the city.
Could you also read section C?
Section C. The first licenses shall be issued to presently existing licensees to the extent of the number of taxi cab licenses each such licensee is holding at the time of enactment. Thereafter, any new taxi cab licenses authorized by the city council from time to time shall be determined by lot in a public drawing conducted by the city clerk. Each applicant for a license to be awarded at a drawing by lot may only submit one entry under one form of business organization: sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC, corporation, etc. The clerk shall have the discretion to exclude from the drawing applications not in conformance with this requirement or applications not submitted in good faith.
So in reading it, we may have to just remove the entire, what do you call it? 0.090, that section. Because they all kind of talk about the number of permits and the lottery process. If we just remove 090, does that accomplish what?
It bleeds into other sections. So it'll bleed into 9.5 too.
So it wouldn't be like a clean removal of the cap, the requirement for cap.
I mean, I can certainly have our lawyers draft something up that cleans up all corresponding stuff. And I don't think it would take them a long time to do that.
But then we'd have to go through 2 readings again, which would be another month.
Yeah, but in the meantime, if we do not pass this,
Right.
the current licenses are still in place, and we authorize the city clerk to issue the licenses
And that
available.
will start the clock ticking to
Right.
get new permits on the street.
Right, and they have to be commercial, they have to have commercial insurance with the,
Comply with all the requirements.
with the correct cab associated with the commercial insurance, like any other commercial insurance.
And then we can change everything else later, including, the cap.
But in the meantime, it does open up 11.
Adam has his hand raised online.
Hey, just throwing out some thoughts, and I'm not committed on any of these. I've just done some reading in other places. And, Bethel, they actually have a public safety and transportation commission who oversees and kind of looks at all this stuff. And right, it's my understanding in Bethel, they don't have a limit on the number of taxi vehicle licenses. Utqiagvik is actually interesting in that they issue one business license per 1,000 residents, and then underneath that taxi business license, it approves up to 10 taxis. And I don't have any feeling on those one way or another. I just thought I would throw it out there for the thought of, it seems, yeah, anyways, I like the idea of trying to get rid of the caps or reformulating or rethinking that. But keeping the rest, I like the consumer protection.
Can I ask Adam a question?
Sure.
Do you support go ahead and reissuing under the current system, getting that started and reissuing, I guess, up to 11 permits just to start the clock ticking and getting new permits out on the road?
Yeah, I do. And I think another little potential component for things, and maybe it's why it's a good idea to send the big picture to the attorney or something, is, you know, it's interesting that we get stuck in a situation where people are sitting on these permits until the end of the year and they don't refile. In other places, it's if you're inactive for, 90 days, it's revoked and things, again, if there's no limit, it doesn't matter. But it's kind of strange that we kind of get stuck in a predicament because people are sitting on them potentially or not moving on them, or we're only issuing them at certain times. Yeah, I think we need to get going.
Well, maybe the lawyer will say 2 weeks is, maybe it won't take 2 weeks for your drawing lottery. Probably is, but it can happen sooner.
Since there's nothing in the ordinance that stipulates what that public notice period is, I think, isn't public notification for like meetings like 48 hours, 72 hours? I'm not saying we do that, but that's really the only legal standard I'm aware of for public notice.
There's a public notice for ordinances.
Yeah.
But if we don't change the ordinance and move forward tonight, I'm focused on tonight. We got a bit of a crisis going on here. We've got all of these folks running around offering rides for services, potentially, illegally. And I think we can move forward with the current ordinances in place and start the process to issuing new permits, get those out. 11. I don't think anybody's, I think it sounds like everybody agrees that 11's the number. And then the attorney can massage the ordinance as needed. We come back for second reading and do that. But this starts the process tonight to get new taxi cab permits out on the street using the existing ordinance structure that we have. That's my recommendation, unless I'm missing something or there's a disadvantage that I haven't thought of.
We've had that permit process in place for a long time as a
Yeah.
city. So it's not creating anything new necessarily. It's just adhering to that process that's there.
No one's done it before, so.
So would you
Yeah.
need a separate motion then?
Well, we gotta
Well,
finish
we-
off this.
we-
Yeah,
We gotta
after.
kill this.
Okay.
I guess is what we're doing. Because we can't table it. This
Right.
one, right?
I don't think we want to.
No, we want to start over.
There's a motion on the table, so.
All right, if there's no further discussion on the motion, you want to restate the motion?
The roll call would be to approve the ordinance that repeals all sections of that code. And so if you are approving the repealing of the code, it's a yes. If you are not, it's a no. Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, oh, I'm sorry, what? No,
Councilmember Martinson. No. Councilmember Henderson.
No, no.
Councilmember Miller.
No.
Councilmember Lust.
No.
All right, that motion failed.
All right,
I make a motion to have the city clerk put out for lottery 11 taxi cab permit licenses.
I'll second that.
the motion on the floor by Councilmember Johnson, seconded by Councilmember Henderson to go ahead with the 11 taxi cab permit lottery as already noted in our ordinances. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Is there any requirements for someone to enter this lottery?
In code.
And that will be listed in the announcement for what the requirements
And
are.
where's is that in the taxi cab?
Ordinance, yeah, it is. Don't ask me to cite it off the top.
No,
of my
I'm not.
head.
I was looking through here.
Let's see if I can find.
Yeah, maybe it's there, but I don't see it.
Under that 3.10.0.010, that's part of this thing, and that's part of the ordinance. Basically, it says that people have to operate a taxi, you have to have a chauffeur's license and the appropriate taxi cab or motor bus license for operating.
3.10.095 issuance and renewal of taxi cab licenses. Subsection A, subsection 1, a non-refundable annual application fee of $100 per vehicle. Item 2, proof of procured and maintained financial responsibility and security. A, in the form of a policy or certificate of insurance issued by an insurer licensed in the state of Alaska, or a bond of a surety company licensed to write surety bonds in the state of Alaska, or evidence accepted by a city clerk showing comparable ability to self-insure. And B, for minimum amounts of $300,000 single limit for property damage in a single occurrence, and for bodily injury or death in a single occurrence. And C, the requirement clearly stated in the policy or endorsement that the policy of insurance, surety bond, or other form of security may not be canceled on less than 30 days written notice to the city. That's part of
Thank
the
you for that.
application.
But that's for basically the renewal of existing permits or before you can operate. Or
it's
or
also-
what I'm asking is, can anybody show up and want and participate in the lottery, or do they need a certificate of insurance for $300,000, a chauffeur's license? Because we've talked about in previous meetings that we do not need to do that, that there will be a period of time in which applicants, if they successfully are awarded through the lottery process, a permit, that they have a period of time to get all of these things.
Doesn't say new or renewal.
That's right. No, it says has been awarded a new license issued by the city by law.
I don't think it gets specific in code as to what the lottery process looks like. I don't believe that
So
they
basically,
have to,
anybody can participate is what I'm
anybody
driving
can
at.
participate, but if they aren't able to meet the requirements with a certain time frame, then it gets revoked and it goes back out to
And
lottery.
what is that? Is
Or it
that,
goes to the second that was pulled for the in the lottery.
so what's the time frame between when you're issued, say somebody's issued a permit through the lottery process, one of those 11 permits, how much time do they have before they need to present these documents?
I'd have to consult with the attorneys on what's an appropriate time
Because it doesn't say.
because it doesn't say.
My personal opinion is that they should show that they can obtain proof of insurance for the vehicle. So we don't put somebody out there for whatever period of time we determine as an eligible time, 30 days without any insurance.
Would it be possible to determine that amount of time needed between awarding of the permit and the time that you need to verify that you comply? Like whether it's 30 days or 45 days, is it possible to post that with the advertisement or the posting for this lottery process? So people have an understanding, if I get a permit, I have 30 days or whatever the number is to have all of these requirements in place. I think that's a reasonable expectation for somebody participating in the process.
I think that they would, more than anything else, run into the problem of getting their chauffeur's license in conjunction with this within a time frame. Medical certificate tends to be a little bit difficult for some people because you have to work with the local hospital, or we've had chauffeurs that have gone to Anchorage to get it done because it was faster and easier to get it done than waiting on the one person that maybe could do the chauffeur's physicals.
Sure.
And so, and there is a kind of a ticking time clock there with getting all their chauffeur stuff in because it's tied to a permit in the system. And so, yeah, hypothetically, they get the license. They only have a certain amount of time to really get their chauffeur's packet all together before it expires, per how the code reads. And so I think that 30 days at minimum is probably a reasonable ask, but
Whatever the number
we'd have
is.
to look at our code closer with the attorneys to determine what is actually fair.
Okay.
We're trying to encourage people, real
Exactly.
taxi cab licenses, so.
I got, 30
Yeah.
days to do it, and it's gonna take me 3 months to get everything, all of my permits or chauffeur's license, everything in place, so my discourage some folks, so that's all. I think we just need to try to get as much information out to the public as we can through this lottery process, that's all.
So this was discussion on the motion to go ahead and move forward with the lottery.
Issuing the lottery, yeah.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? I'm gonna call the roll on the motion.
Okay. Councilmember Lust,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller, Councilmember Miller.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I said yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
All right, that motion passed.
All right, motion carries. Well, there being no new business, I guess the next item up would be the utility manager's report.
Thank you and good evening. I was here 7 days ago. I really don't have much more to say other than want to make you aware that we sent a lineman to Unalakleet. They had some severe situations down there with their hillside being out of power. And I want to thank Louis Stang from coordinating here in town and Calvin Bell for actually going down to help them out. And UVEC was grateful for that. We had a water outage because AC's water meter froze and burst. And so that required an outage a couple of days ago. They did put in a valve for their fire system that is not holding. And so there will be another scheduled, but I don't have the time. We're making a notice of that there will be an outage probably tomorrow or the following day, and we will update through Facebook and notices on the radio. If you notice your water is not flowing, you may wish to turn off your circulating pump during that duration. And normally we would say, I guess when the power's out, leave your tap water running. Well, if the water's not running, there's no water to run. So hopefully your pipes are well insulated so that the water comes back as soon as we have it done. They'll do their best to make it as short as possible, but just be aware that that will affect Icy View from AC on out the street.
Any idea on approximate 1, 2 hours, 4 hours?
It will depend on how quickly we're going to provide some additional help, which we'll bill them for, of course, because they're only sending one person up here to make this change, and we'll be standing by to ensure that it's as short as possible. So I can't give you a duration.
Just real quick, thank you to NUS for setting Louis Schickstang.
Actually, it was Calvin. Louis was coordinating.
Oh, okay. Thank you for sending someone out to Unalakleet, because not only was it for power for something, it was also power to the fuel tank, that holds all the heating oil and gas for the town. So it was really an important fix.
Yep. Well, Unalakleet and White Mountain and Diomede, and I believe possibly Gullivan are the 4 villages in our area that are not members of AVEC. And so as independents, we'll try to give a little more assistance to those, and we'll help AVEC too if they can't possibly find somebody, but usually they have the staff, so.
Thank you, John. The city manager's report is in the packet, I guess, whatever there is of it. Fiscal year 26, second quarter department head reports.
Is Nikki online?
I believe Nikki is online.
Nikki is online.
Question for Nikki?
Nikki, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, Mark's got a question for you.
Nikki, is this just presentation for update, where we're sitting? I noticed that you put that some things are through November because of the lag time on sales tax and stuff. Is it?
Yeah, this is just a quarterly report at where we are at December 31, and we're still paying December's bills, so it's just kind of a snapshot in time.
So we're not asking to do any amendments at this time, correct?
No, but we are working on a budget amendment. Possibly, I need to connect with Lee, but possibly you might see that in your next packet or the one after.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Nikki? I guess if no further questions on that, next item on the agenda is the mayor's comments and report. Well, we had a real interesting visit with the South Korean mayor of Busan. The other day, they came to town, they toured the port and a CDC facility, museum, gave them an opportunity to walk on the Bering Sea. They were able to experience genuine Nome traffic trouble as their flights were delayed, both coming and going. And we're also able to experience a little bit of Nome hospitality as we bounced around with them, trying to keep them occupied, although more or less kind of wore them out considering the early morning they had to catch that flight. It's tough doing a day trip to Nome. There were no promises made other than that we would talk to them as any other interested party and out of the public that's interested in what we're doing. Appreciated Joy's spearheading the port tour and making sure that this came together in a positive fashion, and the assistance of the city in providing hospitality, transportation for them while they're here. That's about all I've got for now. So, council members' comments?
Councilmember Miller.
Hi, no comments, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lest.
I will just add that I am looking forward to the council person training that was originally scheduled in December to be rescheduled and to be able to attend that.
Councilmember Martin.
I don't have anything.
Councilmember Henderson.
No comments, thanks.
Councilmember Johnson.
Regarding the South Korean visit that the mayor referred to, just wanted to commend both the mayor and to Joy for showcasing Nome and being very diplomatic. And I know that it was the first time the mayor's had to do that sort of thing in a I guess foreign, even to a foreign nation, which doesn't happen too often. But both of them represented Nome very well and did a good job with that. And that's all I had.
Thank you. All right.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session regarding personnel matters.
Again. For the mayor.
Student Representative Stasenko. Comments?
Sorry.
Our food box was not actually turned in like how I thought it was. I still saw it when I went back to school today. Looks like there's more food though, so there'll be more to turn in.
All right, so we have a motion to go into executive session. Seconded by a motion by Councilmember Johnson, seconded by Councilmember Henderson. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, we call the roll on the motion to go into executive session for personnel matters.
Councilmember Lusk.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
All right. We'll be recessing into executive session. I don't believe we'll have any action as a result at this point.